everyone. Today we have yet another controversial and serious topic to discuss. That's why I have the animal ears and the spooky eyes to help distract us from the serious nature of this discussion. Bark bark. Today we discuss the infamous Rule Zero. Rule Zero is the most infamous quality of Commander. It was formally introduced in 2019 after the large influx of Commander players. Rule Zero was quickly removed in 2020 and reintroduced in the Commander philosophy document that you can still find today. Despite not being a formal rule of the game, if you're a Commander player, you know what Rule Zero is. As a quick refresher, here is the original written form of Rule Zero. Rule Zero. These are the official rules of Commander. Local groups are welcome to modify them as they see fit. If you'd like an exception to these rules, especially in an unfamiliar environment, please get the approval of the other players before the game begins. The infamous Rule Zero has long been a part of our language and culture, and players often invoke Rule Zero whenever something unsatisfactory is added to the game. In 2020, Sheldon Menery clarified what Rule Zero is and isn't in an aptly titled article. To quickly summarize the points of the article, Toby Elliott's quotes highlight that Rule Zero is here to enhance the good times folks will have, and Shivam Bhatt helps remind us that Rule Zero is not a magic wand to help fix format-level problems. The heart of Rule Zero is to allow players to have more fun. As gamers, we often equate fun with balance or fairness. And as we highlighted in our previous video, fairness is not necessarily required for fun. Yet, as the community tries to leverage Rule Zero discussions to bring more enjoyable games, the heart of our focus is fairness. In the Professor's video, they describe Rule Zero discussions encompassing things beyond power level. It includes the preference of allowing players to play with proxies and more. However, at the end of the day, servers, event holders, and content creators have tried to solve fairness with numbers, levels, and labels. But what if I told you we may have been trying to solve this problem of increasing enjoyment from the wrong perspective? Allow me to introduce to you DEIB strategy. DEIB stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. It is a focus in business to improve workplace dynamics, workflow, productivity, and the community of any organization. But most importantly, it helps make impactful shifts in culture where more individuals of differing perspectives can find belonging in that culture. How DEIB achieves this is by providing the 4 pillars in its acronym for organizations to focus on to create real change in their culture. So let's dive into each pillar. When we talk about diversity, I imagine your immediate expectation is racial or ethnic diversity. Diversity is the range of human differences. This extends beyond race, nationality, and gender identity. This includes things like age, social class, physical ability, and even political beliefs. When we discuss increasing diversity, we also mean considering individuals with different backgrounds. Equity is not how many time twisters you own. Equity is the quality of being fair and impartial. It recognizes the unique needs of diverse individuals and helps make adjustments so the individuals can meet on an equal playing field. Equity is different from equality. Equality is the state of being equal in status, rights, and opportunities. Equity recognizes the barriers that get in the way for individuals to gain access to equality. Inclusion is involvement and empowerment, where the inherent worth and dignity of all people are recognized. An inclusive space encourages and sustains a sense of belonging. It values and practices respect for all people. Diverse people can be invited to the table, but if their voices are not heard and their ideas are not implemented, then we don't experience the true value of having diversity. Lastly, we have belonging. Belonging is the feeling that your authentic self is not only welcome, but celebrated and valued as an essential part of the community and organization. Belonging is the outcome of diverse representation and inclusive practices welcomed and integrated within the community. So what we're talking about here is, if inclusion is the invitation for someone to come to join you at a dance, belonging is actually extending your hand and having them take part of the dance, as opposed to sitting at like the punch bowl with me, watching everyone have fun. If we look at these 4 pillars, we can clearly see 4 different avenues a community can focus on to achieve that lasting goal of creating a sense of belonging. We want to invite and consider individuals of different backgrounds, recognize barriers and provide them the means to have equal opportunities, and lastly, extend invitations for everyone to belong. Now that we've done a crash course on DEIB, how does this all relate to Rule 0? Before we continue, I'd like to highlight another passage from another Sheldon article. At the end of an ideal game, everyone will have done something and felt like they contributed to the game's narrative. Perhaps something epic happens, and then someone wins. Rightly, parenthetically. Bark bark. With that statement in mind, let me pose this question. What if having fun wasn't tied to power level? What if having fun was dependent on a player's contribution to the narrative, or in other words, a sense of belonging in the game? Looking back at our pillars of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, we can quickly re-evaluate the foundation of our Rule 0 discussion. For diversity or understanding of perspectives, we can ask questions to gain a better understanding of our players' backgrounds. How long have you been playing Magic? How long have you been playing Commander? While these seem to be obvious questions you may already be asking as icebreakers, you may also realize that a lot of players have played Magic for a long time, but recently may have returned to Commander. Or they only recently started with Arena and may not be used to playing tabletop play. Gaining this perspective allows the table to have a better understanding of each other's play. Someone might be very knowledgeable with card mechanics, but is not used to multiplayer dynamics, and so on. Understanding each player's background and perspective and their preferences, such as their pronouns, will also help us as a pod realize how to help each other to enjoy the game better. If someone is not used to playing in multiplayer, you might be more patient with helping them, guide them on how to play in a multiplayer experience, and so on. For equity, we can ask each other for the relative strength of each other's decks. The goal of asking for these things like fast mana and tutors or combos isn't only to help understand the playing field, but the goal should be recognizing barriers for each other's participation. A deck can have all the fast mana it wants, but if it doesn't intend to take over the game with it, such as playing combos to end the game faster, or play cards that restrict each other's play, the overall power level of that deck isn't creating a barrier for players to enjoy the game. Remember, balance is a contributing factor to fun, but isn't necessary to have fun. Lastly, for inclusion and belonging, what if, instead of asking how an opponent wants to win, we asked for how they want to be a part of the experience? Instead of asking what your deck wants to do, we ask what do you want to do? What makes you feel like you've won the game without actually winning? How often have you heard this phrase, "I've done the thing, I'm happy now, bark bark"? If we focused on learning what allows players in our pods to feel like they genuinely were a part of our collective narratives, as opposed to simply just how powerful their decks are, or how they intend to win, so the table can discuss if strategies are reasonably fair, we can quickly arrive to a place of understanding much faster. If someone says they just want to make squirrels, yet another deck is designed to constantly wipe the board or remove creatures, you can already recognize the barrier to one player's sense of belonging in that game. They're included in the pod, but they're not a part of it. So I hope today's video has helped inspire us to rethink how we can make Commander a more inclusive and ultimately fun experience for everyone. The infamous Rule 0, often touted in hyperbole, was designed to help new players at LGS's quickly align to have a good experience with the format. In my LGS's Discord, there's a very vocal critic of the Rules Committee and Sheldon himself. They claim that the RC should be dismantled and the players should reclaim the format from the clutches of Sheldon. We are the only ones with a philosophy document and it guides how we shape things. And I agree with that. Because at the end of the day, it's up to you to help your community and players at your LGS feel a better sense of belonging and have more fun with the game. So I hope the video was inspiring to you. If this video helped you think about how you will pursue Rule Zero discussions a little differently, gave you some ideas, please let me know in the description box below. Maybe together we can come up with a good foundation on a Rule Zero that helps everyone contribute to the game. Ban opposition agent. Goodbye.